Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the CURT Premium hanging style bike rack right here on our 2022 Kia Sorento. So the CURT Premium is what I consider a super family-friendly bike rack. Your Kia Sorento has a lot of versatility to it. You can carry a lot of people, you got your third row, you can pop that down real quick to get more cargo space. So if you need a bike rack for when you have all your friends or all your family in your car and you want to take all of their bikes, this could be a good option for you. It's not a premium priced bike rack, but it has a lot of versatility too. So we'll take a look at those different specs, those different features and measurements, but we'll focus on the Sorento. That way you can make the decision for the best bike rack for you, your different types of bikes, and your vehicle. You can get the CURT Premium as a 4-bike or even a 5-bike option. In fact, I would go ahead and just get the 5-bike option. That way you have the option or the opportunity to carry 5 bikes if ever you want to. But what I have here is the 4-bike version. It's all going to work the exact same way. You're going to have some differences though when it comes to weight capacity as well as the length added to the back of our vehicle. So notice the way our bike is mounted here. We have 1, 2, and 3 points of contact. The third works kind of as our anti-sway cradle. Notice how we have a pretty decent amount of sway here. In fact, you can turn your bikes around depending on your frame. If you want more sway, less sway, depending on whether you have children's bikes or larger bikes. In fact, let's talk about that. So we have a normal adult's bike over here, and if you have had other hanging racks, you know that when you put children's bikes on there, it's kind of a struggle to get them through the arms and the cradles. That's what the CURT Premium helps out with. Notice how it's tapered where the cradles are farther apart for your larger frames, and for your teeny tiny frames, they're closer together to help out with those clearance issues. Now, when you want to take your bike off, I'll demonstrate over here. Notice first how much sway we have with our third strap. Once we take it off, we have a lot more sway. When you get 5 bikes onto your bike rack, that can make a big difference. Now the straps holding it in are just thicker rubber straps. So you pull on them, release them from the tab, and then once all 3 straps are released, you can bring them through the cradles, through the arms, and just like that, you're ready to go on a bike ride. With the bike out of the way, we can take a closer look at the cradles themselves. So notice how we can rotate these depending on our bike's fit. We have a bunch of different tabs. We can put them diagonally. We can put them across from each other. A lot of this bike rack is all about making it unique to you. So when you do have your bikes off, I do recommend putting those straps back in place anyways. That way they're not flying around as you drive around. Our cradle distance, once they're right beside each other, is going to be about 5 inches center to center. We have a bit of distance before we get over to the tapered, but then it's going to be 5 inches again. So the 5-bike version is going to look exactly like these. 2 over here close to the vehicle, then that one will have 3 cradles on the tapered portion. At the very end of your bike rack, you're going to have these nice shiny red plastic reflectors. That way when you drive, people know that there's cargo behind you. So the thing is, while you can carry a lot of bikes, there's also a lot of length added to the back of your vehicle with this on. So let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. I'm going to measure from our bumper on our Sorento to those reflectors, and it sits at about 40 inches of length. So definitely something to keep in mind. The 5-bike version is going to be a little bit longer. Whenever you back into your garage or try to park into a tight spot or see if you have enough garage space, that's a measurement to remember. Now, if it does take up too much space inside your garage, you can move this into the compact position. It's also going to be the position you'll have it in when you want it stored somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold down the arms. So that involves some pins and some clips. We have this clip holding in our pin right there. So we're going to take that off and pull this right out. Drop that down and then pop it right back into place. And on the other side, clip it again so it's nice and secure. So before we take those measurements of it folded down, note that it's going to be helpful with the bikes off and this folded down if you want to tilt the rack away. So it's going to be a little bit of a process. but it's technically easy once you know the gist of it. You turn this knob, and then that allows you to take this clip and this pin out. So clip out, and then pin out, just let that hang. Then there's this other lever here. So you're gonna wanna lift that lever, and then this will allow you to drop that down to a tilt. So why would you tilt your bike rack away? Well, if you wanna open up your hatch. As you can see here, plenty clearance between our door and our bike rack, allowing us to get into our hatch, maybe grab our waters, our helmets, our backpacks. Once we've done so, we can close that door and bring this back up. So it does take a little bit more time since you have to take all your bikes off in order to tilt this away. So definitely something worth considering. If you want to keep your bikes on, you might want to look at our other bike rack options. Usually the premium platform racks have the ability to tilt away with bikes on. Let's take some measurements for our compact position. So first it's going to be, how close does it get to our car? Well, notice how we have plenty of clearance there. In fact, we have about 4.5 inches of clearance from our bumper to where that lever is. The length now added to the back of our vehicle is going to be from the bumper to the end of the bike rack, which is by the shank, and that sits at around 11 inches. So big difference compared to when the arms were up. This is a nice position for it to be in if you need to like parallel park into a really tight spot in the city. But what is it like living with a bike rack behind you? Well, let's talk about where it sits. Notice how it comes just a little bit above where your window begins, so you'll still have pretty much all of your rear view mirror view. You also have your taillights visible, of course. Now the big thing about hanging racks is where your license plate and your backup camera sits. So your backup camera is centered on the back of your vehicle, right where that bike rack is. You'll mainly see your bike rack through your view. You'll be able to see some of the cars behind you too, but that's definitely something to keep in mind with hanging racks. So this includes an anti-rattle bolt and a clip, so not exactly a lock. I do recommend getting a cable lock. You have an anchor point in the back for that to help secure your bikes. Now, the anti-rattle bolt tightens down with a 3/4 inch wrench or socket like what I have here. Once you have that properly tightened down, it creates a secure fit between your bike rack and your hitch receiver. In fact, let's do a quick shake test to show you what I mean. So I'm gonna shake our bike rack over here, and as I shake it, especially over by the shank, it's a really solid fit here. Notice how our vehicle is moving. That shows that it's really secure because of that anti-rattle bolt, making for a relatively smoother ride for your bikes overall. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So my personal thoughts about the CURT Premium hanging style bike rack is it's not as fancy as, let's say, something like the Yakima Back Road, which has more spaces apart and uses zip strips. If you're looking for more comfort, that could be an option for you, but it's very practical. It's very useful. If you have your larger bikes, if you have your really small frames or your kids' bikes, this helps out with that. You then can also get the best fit for you by just rotating these cradles. One thing I do recommend is moving the straps around. That way they get an equal amount of wear and tear. Also keep in mind the weight capacity is going to be 180 pounds for your 4-bike version and 225 for your 5-bike version. That's a lot for a hanging style rack. So if you have a lot of bikes and you're just more concerned about figuring out a way to carry all of them, this could be a really good and affordable option for you. So this right here was a look at the CURT Premium hanging style bike rack right here on our 2022 Kia Sorento. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.